You are listening to Chai with the CEO, a Random Genius Media original.
Welcome, Jessy,
You.
Jacintha Jayachandran, to Chai with the CEO. Now, we will have a little bit of a formal intro to you, but we've known each other since On Mobile Global, which was
Yes.
about 10 years ago, I'm guessing.
Longer than that.
Longer than that.
Longer than
But
that.
it was a
Yeah.
pleasure. It's been a pleasure knowing you, and then obviously we've been keeping in touch off and on, not as much, but I've been following your track record, your progress chart since then, and you've been up to some great stuff, TEDx videos, podcasts. I think you need to teach me a trick or two about podcasting.
Oh,
And a special shout out to Kalo, Kalpana Sadasivan, who was the one who actually recommended that I do a chai with the CEO with you.
okay. And I
Okay,
thought she was J-Lo. I mean,
JLo, yeah,
you
JLo,
can't make
Kalo,
it such a
whichever.
J-Lo.
So, hi Kalpana, we're thinking of you.
I
And
know.
yeah, and um, so as you know, the format is pretty simple. We get high flying CEOs to talk to us about stuff that they're
Ooh,
doing,
okay.
and you are the chosen one today. So we're going to interrogate you about
Oh
all
my
the good
God.
stuff that you're up to. Firstly, do you have your chai handy?
I do.
Yeah,
I have
chais to that.
it's got, it's not got chai though.
It's okay.
But I shall
Midday
give you
drinking, are we?
company. I shall give you
Midday
company
drinking.
as I sip on my H2O, but
On
you
your
can,
H2O.
yeah.
Okay, cool. You are forgiven. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank
So
you.
now we will proceed. We'll
Mm-hmm.
have a small intro to you, which is done by a very special person to me, and you will find out in a bit. So
Okay.
let's get to it.
Our guest today on Chai with the CEO is Jacintha Jayachandran, aka Jessy, the founder and CEO of HopeWorks, and the only person we know who can turn a crisis into a checklist and still crack a smile while doing it.
Oh,
Jacinta built HopeWorks on a simple belief that hope isn't just a feeling, it's a skill, and under her leadership, it's become a place where people grow, heal, learn, and occasionally laugh at her legendary one more thing pep talks. She leads with a rare mix of warmth, wisdom, and wit, the kind that makes you feel safe, seen, and slightly guilty for not being as organized as she is. Whether she's coaching teams, empowering communities, or quietly solving half the world's problems before breakfast, Jacinta brings heart and humanity to everything she touches. So today, get ready to be inspired by a woman who proves every single day that when hope meets hard work, magic happens. Ladies and gentlemen, let's raise our cup of chai to Jessie.
wow.
So that was my daughter Isabella, and
Oh,
and she did
wow.
yeah, and she did a remote recording today.
Oh
She
my.
was yeah, she's with my in-laws at the moment, and she loves to do recordings at one take at one go. She doesn't love
Wow.
punching in. And if I should be very honest, she was slipping up on your name. So she kept calling me to find out the correct spelling, pronunciation rather. And I think she finally got there. So yeah, so that's the little backstory on on the intro. So Jesse, welcome to Chai with the CEO.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sheldon.
for joining us. Let's dive straight into it. So how does a seasoned HR professional, find her calling to start a non-profit for girls? Give us a little of the backstory.
Um, Sheldon, I came into HR after completing my master's in social work.
Okay. Okay.
And so for me, it's not a new area that I discovered. It was just something that I was trained to do anyway. Okay. And I think the backstory to the backstory is that I think even when I was very young, what appealed to me the most was being able to make people smile. I think it's just one thing, it's there. I remember walking, to our bus stop, and we would cross a home for the aged, and all the old gentlemen would be standing there at the gate, just waiting to see who would pass by, right? Forget about even acknowledge them. And I thought it important to touch all their hands. And don't ask me why I did it. Okay. And one of them would give me one very old sticky sweet, if at all he managed to keep one, right? And I still think when I go back to my childhood and look at the happiest I've been, I think it's hugging random people, touching hands of people who I felt were like standing there with nobody acknowledging them. So I think somewhere it's always been there. And I went into HR because it felt like the best opportunity to work and earn. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think throughout, I kept still seeking, I think, what I really want to do. And I think by the time I came together to really start thinking about what this is, I said, before I hit the magic age of 50, I have to start the foundation and work with girls because that's been a pet area for me. And I said, this is how it's going to happen. Do what comes naturally to myself. And I think caring comes naturally to me. It's not just about anything or anyone in particular, but I think I get moved, and that's just me. And I said, that's my calling, right? And what moved me the most, I think, was what I see with women and girls. There are so many causes, but what came very close to really making me think this is my calling is what I have seen with women and girls. Growing up, one as myself, right? You know what you encounter in the families in the real world out there. I felt if I could make a small difference there, I think it's a great place to start. So I think that's where it is. But I think it was firmed up by this principal of the government aided school in which I studied. Okay. I went and met her, and I was asking her, what can I do for you? Like, typical corporate stuff like, what can
Correct.
I do for you?
Correct.
She looked at me and she said, you tell me you teach leaders, how to be leaders, etc., etc. I can teach my girls subjects, Jacintha. Can you teach them hope? She asked. Sheldon, I think that was the most nervous I've been in life in a long, long time because I had no answer and no clue
Mm.
about what the real answer was. So I think the true visionary in nudging me towards the actual cause was Sister Pauline, who was the principal in the same school where I studied. And I think she hit it where I think she really needs to, in calling us all out to just make sure we make children hopeful. So I said, let me go there.
Very nice. I've got the goosebumps listening to that. I mean, can you teach the children hope? So what does hope mean to you? If I were to ask you, what does hope mean to you?
I'll give you two answers to that, right?
Okay.
One is based on what Professor Rick Miller, who is the founder and CEO, was the founder and CEO of Kids at Hope in the US. Yeah. And he and I spoke to each other just after the sister knocked me out with that question. I had to find out what hope is, right? Other than a four-letter English word, I said, I really need to understand what on earth is this. So I started doing a deep dive to understand hope, Sheldon. And I realized Professor Miller has done so much work in this space. So, like I always do, I just wrote this mail to him. I got his email ID. I wrote to him saying, Professor Miller, I need to understand hope. Will you sort of demystify this to me? And we had a 1 hour call, and we were crying at the end of it, Sheldon. Both of us were crying because he explained it in such simple terms. He said two things. One is if you put the 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 brain, the way we think under a microscope, you will know how a hopeful person comes across. They typically set some goals. It's not this lofty, big, I have to climb Mount Everest kind of a goal, but they will have something that moves them forward, right? That idea of goal. Second is they do believe in their capacity to be able to achieve those goals. And the third is they figure out pathways to get there, and sometimes the goals may change, sometimes the pathways may change, but you still keep persisting. But there's a very beautiful way in which he explains it. And he says it's not the same thing as optimism, right? Optimism is believing that the sun will rise tomorrow morning. Hope is walking out to greet the sun. So hope is rooted in action. It's not just at a belief level, where you say, I know it's going to be a good day. I know it's going to get okay. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going out there and doing your bit to make it a great day, to
Lovely.
make it all look fantastic. So I think that is really the definition of hope for me.
Lovely. Lovely. Well said. So you want to tell us a little bit about what HopeWorks is doing, and the not-for-profit that you founded for
Yes.
girls. Tell us a little about HopeWorks, and I have a few more questions after that.
Sure. We started 5 years ago, Sheldon, and of course, COVID came, and our bank account opening forms went into quarantine. Okay, so I think it was a test of whether we really live up to what we want to profess, which is, can we all be hopeful in life? So, first 2 years, I think we were looking at how do we survive COVID and how do we get girls and families to survive through COVID. So, we did a lot of relief work at that time. And then we started out with what I believe is the real work that we intended to do. And we did it at three levels. One, we worked with schoolgirls who were from eighth grade and above, where we asked them simple questions like, what do you want to become? Because to be rooted in hope, you need to know where you want to go, right? So we were asking them. And we realized when you come from the most underserved and unreached communities of India, okay, I typically don't try to use the word underprivileged, okay, so for whatever reasons, okay. And I realized they really don't have a view of what careers are possible because mostly their mothers are maids,
Correct.
right? Or they've seen teachers in school, right? A few people who sort of made it have gone and become maybe a salesperson in, say, Shoppers Stop or policewoman. Okay. There's only one kid out of the 550 plus that I interacted with who had this very wacky idea. She wanted to become a K-pop singer. Okay. And I realized she had an access to a smartphone, whereas the other kids did not. So she at least had an idea, right? So we started working with kids from 8th to 12th grade in really just helping them understand that there really exists a world of opportunities. And you can choose any of them. It's really up to you. I think from there on, we actually met with girls who had completed 12th grade, in whom we had seeded this idea that dreams are possible, right? And they called up and they said, you told us we could study. You told us, and now COVID has come. Our parents have lost the jobs which earned them whatever, very little to sustain, but even that was gone. So, this idea that I can now pursue an higher education is gone out of the window. So, that's how our second program started. Our first program in the school is called I Grow, which stands for Girls Rising Over the World. The second program, we deliberately called it Hope Citizen because we believed that when you open the doors to higher education, the girls get an opportunity to belong in the world, right? And that's why we said you will own, live, and be comfortably part of becoming a global citizen, but most importantly, a Hope Citizen. So the Hope Citizen program is one where we give scholarships as the first key of hope. We want them to be able to access education, walk into the portals of a college which you typically felt had no gates open for you. But over the course of what we did, we discovered the girls need many more keys of hope. And so we today have 7 keys of hope. And we have hope centers or hope chapters, as we call them, from Srinagar to down south Shivagangai, and from Pune in Maharashtra to Orissa. And 5 years, I think it's quite fascinating to see 14 chapters really working with girls at grassroots level, unlocking not just their potential, but unlocking opportunities that would truly make them sort of move ahead. The third program that we run is called HOSA, and this is for children who live in rescue homes and shelters. And again, our focus is on girls, and they're rescued. And we work with them in building emotional literacy, emotional awareness, and emotional responsiveness. Because sometimes I must share a story, Sheldon, if I have the
Sure,
time.
sure, sure.
We were working with girls as young as 6, and we had this sort of dumb charades kind of a game for them to understand what emotions are, right? Especially the big feelings of sadness, anger, happiness, etc. And post that, we asked the girls, 6-year-olds, to draw what they were feeling. So they were supposed to draw themselves and then put an emoji which says what they were feeling, right? Because we connected bodily reactions to the emojis, and that's how we taught them what the big feelings and emotions are. That was our session that day. I think out of the 8 girls in my team, 7 of them either wrote angry or sad.
Mm,
And then, you know, it just shakes you up to realize 6-year-olds are angry and
mm,
6-year-olds are sad.
mm.
And the world is still unable to recognize the big emotions that the children seem to have. So that's our third program. And these are the 3 programs we run, though the flagship program is really the Hope Citizen program. And the others, we are now trying to figure out how to scale because it is a challenge to run everything. You know, it's the truth
Correct,
of being able to run a foundation.
correct, correct. Very well put. I was going to ask you in Hope Works has touched so many lives. If there was one memorable incident that you wanted to talk about, but is that the one you've already spoken about?
I think there are so many, Sheldon, but that I think it shook me.
Sure.
I think I came home and I cried because it was too much for me to think 6-year-olds can be. You just imagine all 6-year-olds must be happy little girls, right?
Exactly,
And
exactly.
then you encounter this. But I also think there have been such amazingly positive transformational stories that's happened with so many of our girls. Like a girl walks into Infosys Technologies, joins, and she sends me a picture from Mysore campus saying, "Ma'am, look where I've reached. You know, we kept talking about it, and today I'm here." Another one
Lovely,
talks about buying a second-hand washing machine for her mother. Brilliant, you know.
lovely.
Yeah.
So, what is the one belief about leadership or impact that you've changed in your mind given your experiences over the last few years?
I think the first thing is, I think when you're part of corporates, you somehow believe, one, you got to know it all, or you got
Mm.
to sort of have some answers. You can't be tentative as
Yeah,
a leader or say, well, I've got to think about this kind of stuff. Um, and I think going into this world of social impact has taught me it's perfectly fine to be in a space of not knowing everything. I think the trick is to do what you can that day to move the needle. If you wait for the most perfect understanding and the most perfect action to fix it, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. So I've become, I think, very vulnerable. I think today I can sit and cry in an office. I mean, if I think I'm just moved by something, I'm going to be able to express it, right? If I don't know, I'm going to say, I don't know.
and it's
So
perfectly fine to do that.
yeah, and it's okay to do that.
Correct. Which then is a good segue to my next one, which is how do you balance being both a visionary and a hands on leader in an organization built on empathy?
Actually, they lead one from the other, right? Your empathy actually builds the vision. Because the more you see, the more you encounter, you keep asking yourself, is there something that I could do? I didn't come up with a grand vision on day one. You know, the why gets solidified with every interaction, right? And then I say, can I do something for little girls in rescue homes? Can I do something for the girls who need access to college? So the vision gets built on what you see, and what you see requires you to be really empathetic, right?
Correct.
That's when you really see it. Otherwise, it's so easy to unsee what I think exists out there. And to really be able to see it, you need to walk to the places where your people reside, not see them in sanitized environments. So I go where my children live. I ask all my volunteers if they can go and walk into the slums, meet the children in their real environment. Because when some of our mentors say, but she did not pick up the phone, I always tell them, the family has one phone. So it could have been with the father who must have
Correct.
taken it, right? Because
Correct.
he could be a carpenter who gets his daily job, only if somebody accesses him over the phone. So the
Correct.
child doesn't have access to phone till say 8:30, 9 o'clock in the night. So that empathy gets built only when you go and realize what the real constraints are. So I think that is what I think makes you build this bridge between an evolving vision. Yeah, it's not mine. It's what you see that helps it shape it, and then what you want to do at the ground level both.
Understood. You talked about how it's a process of evolution, right? So if HopeWorks were to evolve in an unexpected direction, what would you love that future to look like?
It has to evolve without a Jessy being part of it, Sheldon. You know, I mean, there should be so many people saying, hey, this is good to do, and it's important to look at it like, how do we take it across? Even today, I'm very happy that each of my chapters is being run by somebody, right, who I meet only once in a way, whereas 3 years ago, it would have been unthinkable. But
Yeah.
today it's there. In fact, we had 2, 3 chapter inaugurations this year, especially Orissa, Srinagar, and a couple of other places, and recently in Trichy, where I wasn't present physically. I could only address them, or I did not even address them. There were a couple of other team members going. So I think I'd like to see HopeWorks becoming a movement carried by people who believe in the cause. And therefore, like Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm not looking at building an organization. I'm hoping and seeking to build a movement which will sustain. I don't think anybody remembers who started Alcoholic Anonymous. At least I don't know, but I do know it exists and it runs very well, right?
Yes. The
You
system. You're talking about building a system.
Absolutely, a
Correct.
process, a system that works and clearly is delivering results for the participants, right, who come there for changing themselves. If we are able to build something like that, I think it's going to be fantastic. Really,
Absolutely.
absent Jesse is, I think, a good way to look at where I would like to see it going,
Which is
but spreading
which is
across.
which is completely opposite to what you taught in corporate, right? You have to be present and you have to show the team that you're there and
Yes,
everything anyway. So kudos to you for
thank
you know
you.
uncorporatizing, if that's a term that I can use. Lovely to see you in this avatar of yours. Now, even though you don't have a cup of chai the side of you, we're going to do a few quick sips with you.
Sure,
Okay,
sure,
so I'm going
sure.
to shoot you a few quick rapid fire, and I
Okay,
want your honest opinion, right?
okay, okay.
So let's start with coffee or chai.
Hot chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay. Now take a sip.
Okay, okay, I gotta do a sip.
You take a
Okay,
sip. Okay. One word people use to describe you.
happy.
Happy. One more sip. A book you recommend to everyone.
Tuesdays with Maury, Mitch Albom.
Tuesdays. Okay.
Yeah.
Mitch Album. Take another
Yeah.
sip. Last one so that you don't have to run to the toilet. Your secret work superpower.
Plan.
Planning.
Yes.
Awesome. You did well, Jessy. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've come to the end of our little tete-a-tete on Chai with the CEO. Before you leave, we have one surprise for you.
Okay.
So hang on. We are a very low budget operation. I have to do everything. So here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
When Jesse walks in, the room wakes up. Hope gets poured like chai in a cup. Big bright smile, plans on the fly. She'll lift you up till you're 5 feet high. Here comes Jesse, lighting up the day, turning little worries into it'll be okay. She's got the spark, the heart, the clarity, yeah. Hope feels easy when Jesse leads the way. She's the queen of calm when things go wrong. Turns a tough day into a comeback song. Dreams get bigger when she's around. She plants the hope and it comes back crowned. Here comes Jesse, bright as morning sun, making heavy moments feel a little more fun. She's got the grace, the grit, the energy, yeah. Life gets lighter when Jesse sets it free.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Jessy.
Our
Thank you
guest
so
today
much
on Chai
for
with the
being. Okay.
That was so cool, Sheldon.
Yep. That was a special track for you from Random Genius.
Thank you.
uh, Made keeping HopeWorks in mind, and we hope this will become a sizzle for you to walk out to at
Yeah,
events.
absolutely.
You definitely should use it at your events, and
Of course.
wishing you all the best,
Thank
Jessy.
you.
Lots of
Thank you.
love and luck for
Thank
whatever
you.
you do. And we'll be following you, and hopefully we'll do part 2, part 3, part 4
Of
in the
course.
coming future.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Jessy. Take care. Lots of
Big
love.
hug, Sheldon. Thank you
All
for doing
right.
this.
Take care.
Yeah.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Here comes Jesse, lighting up the day, turning little